So this will be recorded for different friends from the masters. I cannot participate. Let us begin with 3 sounds of the bell. The sound of the bell is like a micro practice, the bell of mindfulness. And as it helps us just to connect with our in and out breath and release the tension in our body. So in this time, you don't need to think anymore. You don't need to move anymore. You don't need to talk anymore. And you can simply come back to the present moment with your breath. Many of us sit. We sit in many places. In the office, on the cushion, on the bus, in the plane, in the train. But how do we sit? What is happening when we're sitting? Many of us know that we have the default mode network, mind wandering, that many people are lost. Sitting down has become a catastrophe because many of us are completely disconnected from our body. Many people listen to their earphones, they look at their phone also, and the body is not being tended to, not being cared for. And in this session, I would like to just not only review, but we can always deepen our practice of sitting. Sitting is a life practice. It's not just 10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, but we're constantly sitting. But what are we aware of when you're sitting? Many of us have a lot of tension in our body, and many people that are active, when they stop, the body can rest finally. The mind can rest. And here, like the song, when we breathe in and out, we have to cultivate a form of solidity. How do we sit like a mountain? How do we sit in a way when we have freedom? Freedom from the past, freedom from the present, freedom from the future. And eventually, how do we learn to sit like a Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks was a civil rights leader, a woman during the 60s in America, Montgomery, that sat on the bus that was segregated, but she decided to sit in a section that was only for the privileged. But this is a very powerful way to sit. Okay, I imagine her sitting was very stable and her intention was very clear. But most of us sit and we just wander away. We get pulled by the past, plans of the future, and there's no stability. the first thing I would like to share is what we call the hara. In Chinese, we say the dantian, dantian in Vietnamese. This is a form of breathing that's very important. If I ask yourself something very simple, in your daily life, how do you breathe? And where are you breathing from? I work with many scientists and researchers who try to study this. But what we understand is now we have a very interesting way of breathing when our default mode network is activated. Zen is very simple. We ask ourselves a very simple question like, why do the tortoise, the turtle, why do they live longer than the dog? You can write your answer on the chat. This is like a Zen koan. Why did the tortoise live longer than the dog? So you can look at the chat to see some answers. I gave you a clue already. I should have asked this question before. The turtle lives longer than the dog because it understands this form of breathing. The tortoise, we say the yin and yang of the breathing is very stable. And the dog, it breathes very short. So the heart is beating very fast. So maybe the dog can live maybe 15 years maximum. The turtle maybe 500 years. This is linked to something we have already. When we were all babies, we all have this form of breathing. But because the cortex is developed, we lose this form of breathing and we disconnect with our body and we become sick. We have no more roots, so we don't know how to connect anymore. And many people become sick physically and psychologically because we don't understand how to use our energy correctly. This hara, we say it's like the matrix of our breath. This is where life is created in the Zen and Taoist tradition. It's connected to our essence, is in the lower part of our body. And like a tree has roots, the human body and consciousness have roots. And physically, the roots, we say it's in different organs, like the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas. And it's in what we call, in Japanese, many people know this in the Japanese name, the hara, the dantian. And this is considered the roots of our breathing. When you have this breathing, you feel very stable. It's like a tree with a root. When a storm there can be a very powerful storm, and above, the branches and leaves are being moved. But when you look down, the root doesn't move. Let us take a moment now to connect to this form of breathing. As you can see, when we practice the sitting posture, we train, but eventually in Zen, we train to connect to everything with the hara. This is why we have different Zen arts. Like here we practice archery, because we connect with this breathing. With calligraphy, connect with this breathing. Gardening. So in this sitting posture, we want to feel that we are grounded, because our relationship with the earth is very important. Many scientists study this now also. When you ground with your earth, for example, many of the electricity, it dissolves into the earth. When we walk barefooted on the earth, for example, we can measure this with an instrument. But in our posture, on the cushion, on the chair, regardless, we want to have a grounding. Like when everyone is sitting now, but I invite you to maybe sit without the leaning on your chair. Try to sit on the edge of your seat, and already you can feel a difference. Just try to move your posture to the edge of the chair. When you feel the two bones and your hips. What do you notice? Observe. What do you notice? We don't have to write an answer, just reflect. And I'll give you the answer, but it's just to help us. Okay, this is the first thing. When we sit, we notice that our back muscle is activated. You see, the back is pressed into the lumbar is pressed into the kidneys a little bit. It's very firm, the back. And we try to release the tension in the abdominal level. So we have two attitude. The back firm, we say yang principle. The belly soft, very tender, yin principle. So I cultivate between being very firm and tender. This is what we try to cultivate in our life. Because when we're too firm, we crack. Everything cracks. Yes? The mind is too tight, body is too tight. But when we're too soft, we can't do anything. We can't make decisions. We're like a teenager. We can't do anything. We have many good ideas, but we can't do anything. Yeah. So we need to create this attitude when we sit already, because it needs to be embodied. And now what happens, if you observe the mind falls into the body easier. But if I'm like this, Hi. Okay. Many people sit like this, and we say this is not how a Buddha sits. And our attention is very natural when we sit in this way. The difficulty is many people in society, we use this back support, and it's a handicap because it makes our back very weak and we have no roots. So we practice this sitting first to tonify the roots. They do this in the city sometimes with the big trees. They put the cables on the tree. But the tree gets very weak because it doesn't know how to use its energy correctly. And they become dependent on the cable. Our body is like this. And we need to rediscover a sitting posture that's stable and solid. So this is the foundation. Huh? And what happens now when we practice, we'll do the practice after, but we have to understand why we do this. When the posture and the intention is not clear, the mind, it disperses very fast. And this happens to everyone. This is how we condition our mind. And we lose the connection with our breath and our sensations. It's foundations of mindfulness. And what we're trying to do now in mindfulness of breathing in the sitting posture, we're going to mind on the breath. Very simple, very difficult. We call this Shamata practice. Shamata means serenity. It means how to calm the mental activities of the body and mind. And we do this very naturally with the dantian. You don't have to do anything. That's the good news. We just need to settle and release. What happens in this process is first we come back to the body. We recollect. Mindfulness means to recollect, sati. We recollect what? Bringing the body and mind together. This is my body. This is my mind. And usually they're separated. And I do this with, for now, mindfulness of breath. My breathing connects my mind and body. Like this. So without my breath, my mind here, my body there. And I don't want to stay in this state for too long. Then we gather our attention into the breath, into the dantian, and then we ground, just like a tree digging its roots deeper. And then we rest. We learn how to rest. Sometimes our mind that's very exhausted, our body that's very exhausted, in order for the energy to be replenished. And exactly like a tree, we become present again. So let us practice. We can maybe pause this, Rinchen, if you want. We can pause it, the recording. Okay, dear friends, let us start with 3 sounds of the bell, and then we'll enter into our last theory and practice session. So dear friends, welcome back to our last session. Time flies. It's 6 o'clock here, and we have to finish at 7. So for me, it's a good sign. When I look at time, that means I'm not too happy. I want it to be finished, but it looks like time is flying very quickly. So let us come back to the present moment and continue to contemplate this verse. So I'm going to read this verse again, and we see if our understanding of this changes a little bit through our practice. My daily activities are not unusual. I am simply in harmony with them. I grasp at nothing, I reject nothing. There are no obstacles, no conflicts anywhere. My supernatural power and wonderful activity, carrying water and chopping wood. So this is our practice. Carry water and chop wood. We can change the words a little bit so it can make sense in our modern society. Maybe to drive to work, take out the garbage. Maybe we can change this phrase. Many of the Zen masters, their awakening was very simple. Like they listen to water and they become fully awakened. Or they can look at the sky and their mind becomes fully awakened. But we say this satori, the sudden awakening, it takes years of practice. Most people, when they look at the sky, it's just their rumination. It's not sudden awakening, it's sudden forgetfulness. But just the wind that blows on the face, many beautiful poems, masters, they say just what we call awakening is just to feel the breeze on our face. And this is an invitation to come back to life. This is an invitation to come back to the present moment. When do you feel the most awakened in your life? Sometimes other people help us to be awake. When you see somebody walking mindfully, it reminds you to come back. When you see something closing a door very mindfully. For me, I was very impressed by my teachers. Actually, not what they say, they know a lot. But one of my teacher, Tayak Tan, this is one of my teacher. Show you a face of Tai. He's a very beautiful person. I lived with him for many years. The first time I met him, I was maybe 22 years old. I finished my master's at the university. And I came to Plum Village as a young man because I wanted to find peace in my life. We grew up as immigrants from the war. We came to America as refugees. We lived in a lot of poverty. And my parents stressed me to become educated. They said, you must have an education if you want to succeed in life. So I followed their advice. I became very educated, but I was not happy, I think. I was not at peace with myself. And I remember when I first met Tayak Tan, he invited me into his hut in Plum Village. There's Upper Hamlet where the monks live. There's New Hamlet, there's Lower Hamlet where the sisters live. And he invited me into his little hut and he served me tea. Like in the Zen tradition, we serve tea in the traditional way. But I never saw somebody serve tea like that in my life. With so much care, so much attention, and so much love. And I said, I want to learn to serve tea like this. I was very impressed. I said, I want to learn how to serve tea like you. And he said, you have to practice to be present. And when we say chop water, carry wood, it's the heart of our life. We wash the dishes. We take the children to school sometimes. We have to work, build our society. We have to help other people. We have to make a living. But how do we do this in a more conscious way? And for me, these teachings are Thai teachings are very deep. They look very simple, but I said, try to apply this in your life and see how quickly you forget. Yeah. Our habit energy is much stronger than our desire sometimes to practice. But I was lucky enough to live in a community where we nourish this every moment. Our intention was to come to practice, to open our heart, to transform our mind, to transform our suffering, to heal, to connect to our deep aspirations, to live in harmony. And when we say carry wood and chop water, you can ask yourself, what activities do I want to finish very quickly? And this is usually a good activity to be present. For example, here at our center, washing the dishes is a practice. Because I realize many people are not there when they wash the dishes. They want to wash the dishes after to watch YouTube or something like this. So we're not very awake when we wash the dishes. But we forget that this can be a practice. There's a poetry verse that helps us to remember. I put here in Spanish and in English so everyone can understand. When I wash the dishes, I stop, I take some mindful breath, and I know this gatha by heart. In my training, I had to memorize 150 daily activities to be awake, with a verse to remind me. So I cultivate my attention and my intention. And this gatha for washing the dishes is like breathing in, breathing out. Washing the dishes is like washing the baby Buddha. And I wash it with a lot of my care and attention. And I transform the act of washing the dishes into an act of awakening. I don't have to wait until I sit on the cushion to be awake in this practice. It's very radical. When I go to the toilet, I have another verse that helps me to be awake and to look deeply. When I go to the toilet, there's a contemplation. We say, defiled or immaculate, pure or impure, these concepts exist only in the mind. The reality of emptiness, shunyata, interbeing, transcends these concepts. So I see clearly what we say pure and impure is just a concept. Because without compost, we cannot have flowers. Flowers do not grow from diamonds. They grow from compost. And our practice, we don't throw anything away. I don't try to get rid of my monkey mind. I don't try to get rid of my problems. I don't try to get rid of my stress. But I use this as an energy to transform. This is the heart of the Buddha's teaching. We don't throw away anything. We don't have a dualistic view of suffering and happiness. And it changes a lot how we perceive what is sadness, what is violence sometimes, what is happiness. So we all have one committed activities that we would like to fully invest in. We all wrote it down and now we have to put into practice. If you forget, you have to write it down, because most of us will forget. Please write it down so you don't forget. I commit to washing the dishes and I want to be fully present. Now we look at the last practice. Walking. This is we say a Plum Village seal. We all know who Thai students by the way they walk, because the style is always walking meditation wherever we go. Whether we walk at the airport, in the temple, in the sacred place, or in the non-sacred place, we walk in the same spirit. What is walking? How do we walk? Why do we walk? Our evolution, we walk to hunt. Yes, the hunter-gatherers, we walk to get food. But the Buddha, he understood we have other ways to walk. We walk to get something, to go to the desired destination. But walking meditation helps us to leave this dimension. Here's a quote from Thai. The true miracle is to walk on earth. How many of us, when we walk on earth, we realize this is a miracle? There are very few people. And from my experience, people are just walking like a headless chickens, we say. Or in the Zen, we say, we're chased by hungry ghosts. Most of us are walking and we're being chased by the hungry ghosts. There's a Zen story that's we share about this. We say, there's a man riding on the horse, and somebody asked this man, "Where are you going?" And the man on the horse, he says, "I don't know. You have to ask the horse." So somehow we're walking, but we don't know where we're going. And we get there, we want to go somewhere else. This is how human beings walk. This is how I observe human beings. We're not satisfied, so we have to walk somewhere else. You observe little children. They walk somewhere, they want to see something, and 2 or 3 seconds later, they walk somewhere else. And we're sort of like little children in this way. We get somewhere, we're happy for a little bit, then we're not happy. We finish a project, we're happy a little bit, then we're unsatisfied again. And we continue looking for a carrot, some sort of carrot in the future. But walking meditation, when we understand, we don't walk to go anywhere. It's like each step is the destination. When the Buddha was fully awakened, he walked from Bodh Gaya to Sanath. About 45 kilometers maybe, Bodh Gaya, Sanath. It took him 3 months to walk 45 kilometers. I can imagine he enjoyed every step. He was not in a hurry to share the 4 noble truths to the 4 yogi friends in the forest. He was not in a hurry. I can imagine he arrived with each step. He did not have to go anywhere because he arrived at each moment. And this is the practice of walking meditation. Walking in meditation can be done in different ways. In the Zendo, we alternate between sitting and walking for retreat sessions. We call this Ginhan, slow walking. And we try to break down what is the act of walking on the physical, on the breath level. But walking meditation could be done in the park. It can be done in the airport, in the forest. But the key is mindfulness. The key is the breath and the feet. This is all you need to practice walking meditation. In the Chinese tradition, they walk very fast. So it can be done fast also. But usually when you go faster, the mind moves very fast also, unless it's a training. And usually we do walking meditation in a slower pace. In the Japanese tradition, they focus on the diaphragm, but in this tradition, we want to walk more in a natural way. So that way nobody knows you're doing walking meditation. And everyone can do walking meditation, even children. At Plum Village, when we practice walking meditation, we can walk with maybe 5,000 people. And when you have a collective energy like this, it's very powerful. You feel you're in the river and you're being transported in the present moment. Even the children, they become present again. The children, they love Thai. When Thai practice walking meditation, all the children walk with him because he's so peaceful. He brings so much security to people. And they just walk slowly with him. Thai, he doesn't explain them how to walk, but they naturally become present. And the way we do walking meditation, we say the essential is we don't walk to go somewhere, because with each step we arrive. This is a very deep meaning when we say, I arrive, I am home, in the chant. Where do you want to arrive? In the here and now. Our true home is the here and now. For Thai, he said something very interesting, because Thai live a lot of difficulties. Many of his friends were assassinated during the war. He was exiled, he was alone. But he said, what saved me was walking meditation. He said, sometimes the energy is so strong, you can't sit. You become even more sick when you sit. This is why they put people in prison and they get sick, because you can't go anywhere. The energy is too strong. But with walking meditation, you can now work with that energy so it can circulate again. And the energy can transform. And then another key when we walk is our relationship with the earth. We walk in such a way where we give reverence back to Mother Earth. Because the earth is not just a materialistic entity. When we see it in a much deeper way, the earth is like an organism. In Vietnamese, we say our mother. Dak Mẹ is like our mother. In indigenous culture, we say the Tierra Madre, the mother. And we must respect our mothers. Our mothers is the source of life. Our grandmothers, our women. And when we say, when you disrespect the earth, you disrespect the woman, the mother, and the earth. You disrespect everything. And you destroy everything. And when we walk in this way, we bring healing first to the earth and ourselves. And our walk in the way is like you know, when you love someone, you want to be tender with them. You want to show your affection. Usually you want to kiss them, yes? And your feet is like the lips. You are like the lover, and the earth is like the beloved. And you kiss your feet to the earth. And this is how the earth heals. The earth will not heal just with sustainable technology. The earth will not heal just with permaculture. But unless we bring this consciousness into our feet, we go in the wrong direction. because there's no reverence, there's no love, there's no awareness. So the three functions of walking meditation, right, is to not arrive. When people ask me where do I go, I always say I don't go anywhere. And they don't believe me. They said, "Dad, where are you going?" I said, "I don't go anywhere." It looks like I'm going somewhere, but in reality, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. So this is the first thing. And you can watch your mind very clearly when you walk somewhere. And you can train your mind to come back. Second is our steps and our breath. We focus on the steps and the breath. And third, with the contact of the earth. Three things. So we will practice now. We'll do some slow walking and another sitting. And then we'll finish with some sharing, yeah? And questions and comments. So again, the three keys. The first one is to release the urge to rush, to be somewhere. So we remove the destination, even though we have a destination. The walking is the practice itself. We see many dimensions of different dynamics of mindfulness when we practice this. Second, we let go of our worries and anxiety. We want to release baggage. We come back. And third, again, we connect with the earth. Try to walk in a way to really feel like the earth is like a body. Sometimes you have massage, and you don't want people to hit you when they give you massage. It's very painful. And this is sort of what we're doing when we walk on the earth. It's very painful for the earth to see us walk in this way. So now what we're going to do, we have a small space, so we work with a small space. But I suggest you do maybe when you have more time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour of walking meditation. But we'll do slow walking. And in our space, we're going to choose a point A and point B. Maybe 10 steps. And when we breathe in, we're just going to take one step. And we feel the rotation. When we breathe out, we take another step. And we do 10. So we count 1, 2, 3, etc. to 10. This way, you're present. If you don't count, you forget. And your mind wanders. So that helps your mind to anchor. But when you're more present, you can let go of the counting also. But you have to see where your mind is at. Then you walk back from point B to A. And when I invite the sound of the bell, we go back and we do another sitting. And we continue to observe, to practice. Okay? So let us stand up. We choose point A and point B. And at the sound of the bell, we can start our walking meditation. Okay, we can begin breathing in. I take one step, I feel the contact of my feet to the earth. Breathing out, I take another step. Again, I anchor myself to my hara. And I try to arrive with each step. And I add the connection to Mother Earth. Imagine you're kissing the earth with your feet. Let us enjoy walking meditation. Still continuing our practice, we want to walk to our sitting posture, and then we'll continue to deepen the sitting posture. Again, we want to review the different points in the sitting, to have the base fully anchored. And do a few stretches to help you release. Back firm. You want to activate the muscles of the lumbar. Usually you have to push a little bit so the pelvic bone is upright. You want to relax the abdomen. You may like to close your eyes or leave them half closed. If you have low energy, you can leave them open. But don't let your visual become a distraction. So you want to have a wide gaze without focusing on any object. Imagine like we're sitting under the foot of the Bodhi tree, very stable. And we may like to choose mindfulness of the breath, sensations, or to anchor ourselves in the hara. This will be a silent sitting, and I'll invite the sound of the bell in midway. 2 sounds of the bell to finish. Taking this few moments to really enter into nowhere to go, nothing to do, just sitting. Being with the breath, the posture. It's like we're just sitting on the earth, no boundaries, no labels, and enjoying the summer. Enjoy being fully alive with each in-breath and out-breath. We don't have to be anyone in this moment, so we can drop all of our social roles, what we identify to, and just be the person without any business. Be the woman, the man, with nothing to do. Okay, we can slowly reactivate our body and mind with some massage. Okay, questions and comments? I think we have a good balance today between theory, practice. Yes. Realize maybe some of us taste some different things. Rosario, would you like to share something? I saw you raise your hand. See? You can. See?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the practice. Everyone, every practice I enjoy. I want to ask something about mindful eating. May I?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you you said you had two children. I have one that almost 3-year-old. And today I tried with her, but the part of not talking, it's difficult with her. I don't know, if maybe you can give me some ideas, or maybe just how much time, maybe just 5 minutes with her mindful eating, that would be good for me. And also I wanted to ask, of the walking meditation, your arms, are they supposed to be like loose, or are they supposed to be like like this, in front of you or in backwards?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think your question can help all of us practice. So concerning walking meditation is whatever you're comfortable with. So sometimes you could put it around your back. Sometimes you have a pocket. You can, as long as the arm is relaxed, so you feel a free movement. There's no obstruction. So it's different for everyone. Huh? Some people like to walk with their arms crossed. Others like to walk with arms straight. Yeah, so we have to listen again. I like this practice because you really have to listen to yourself. In our tradition, we have a structure, but after is really listening to one own self, to how you create around the structure. Yeah? So we don't have things that you have to do like this, you have to do like that. Yeah? But there's a certain fundamentals, like learning to read. There's certain fundamentals, and the postures also. There's certain fundamentals. With eating meditation for children, your children, in this case, she's 3 years old. So it's
Almost.
maybe,
So she says it.
yes. So maybe just if you have a bell, you could just say, let's listen to the children. They love the bell. When I used to teach at the university and the schools here, I applied different principles. And what I saw most was they love the bell. They're very curious, so I teach them how to invite the bell. For one children, I said, for example, you have to wake up the bell, you have to take 3 breaths, and you have to listen to the bell. And this is already like 30 seconds of cultivating our attention. But imagine if 30 children want to ring the bell. We're actually meditating for like 1 hour and we don't have time for class, you see? But they are what, and I say, when you listen to the other person ring the bell, you have to be present also. So it teach them different qualities, like patience, respecting the other person, and they're learning it in a very natural way. And when my children were young, my children now, they're a very good practitioner, huh? Better than me. Because they learn when they're young. And now they're 22, 17, but they're much more aware than I was when at that age. I just let them invite the bell. And there's a gatha, we say, listen, listen, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. And you help the children smile, and they invite 3 times. You go 1, breathe in, out, 2, in, out. And then we say, thank you for the meal. Then we eat more in a natural way. We can speak, we can do other things, but slowly you're cultivating their attention, where that's one way if you're practicing at home. But if you're in the environment like Plum Village in the summer, here in the summer retreat, all the children eat with us for 30 minutes in silence. Because the adults are very present, they're naturally present. This is my experience. So it depends on the environment you create. At home, there's not a lot of conditions for contemplation at home, but slowly we can add different elements of presence. For example, the mindfulness bell in our kitchen. Even when children come, they know when the mindfulness bell, when the cuckoo, everyone stop and we breathe. Sometimes they're fighting, they have to stop. Sometimes they say very mean words to each other, but the bell, and I tease them, and I say, you see, the bell is very useful because it teaches you to say, are you sure you want to say these things? And then they say, no, I don't want to say this, and they stop. So stopping is important. And there's a book called Sowing Seeds. Catherine Weir, a researcher in education, and Tai wrote together. I think it's here. It's a very thick book. Catherine Weir is a researcher from Keene University in the UK, and she co-wrote this book with Tai called Happy Teachers Will Change the World. But there's many pedagogy, more playful, mindfulness of the body, different games of cooperation, what we call emotional intelligence now, emotional competence that are developed. And if you're an educator, if you want to integrate mindfulness slowly in the family, many simple things, practical, simple things to do. Yeah. And there's some comments here that we can look at also. Pasar el limpia fondos. Maylene, at first I started walking faster and would go past the count of 10 without realizing it, you see? As I began to walk more slowly, the counting also slowed down. Yeah, this is very good observation. We think we have a good cultivation of the mind, but in reality, very few people have good cultivation of the mind. I speak to you very honestly because I went downstairs today and I forgot what I wanted to look for because I wasn't mindful. And it reminds me to be mindful because it works your memory. And this is simple, it looks very simple, but the impact it has on your mind is very deep. It's very deep. I send, okay, thank you, Monica. So this is the title of the book. Other questions and comments? Maybe on the day, the practice. You can turn on your microphone, say where you're from, or write on the chat. Maybe a few more people to get some feedback for the day. We'll send this in the post class. I'll send this information on the book. But the author is Thai Thich Nhat Hanh and Catherine Weir. But don't worry, I'll send all these in the post class. This book is about 15 years of research done. So it's not just ideas, but many things that's been tested by the rigor of many different research. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo está?
Hi,
Sí.
PHAN.
Yes.
I was wondering, I was wondering, how would you incorporate walking meditation within a pilgrimage?
Yes.
Imagine that you walk during a pilgrimage, like 5 hours per day. What would you advise? Like doing, like when you have lunch, like being conscious during 15 minutes. Um, Doing the same like during walking, like being 15 minutes conscious and then the rest of the time
Mm-hmm.
being more relaxed. Or
Yes.
what would be your advice?
It's a good question. I just did this actually, so I can answer it very clearly for you. We just went on the pilgrimage. So with walking meditation, like for example, when we went to Vietnam, I suggested to the group when we enter into a pagoda, all of us practice walking meditation. Because usually in the pagoda, you pay respect to the Buddha, you respect to the ancestor, you go in circumambulation if there's different stupas of masters, yeah, and we always do it in the walking. We slow down our steps, and I tell people, we walk like we have nowhere to go and nothing to do. Yeah? We arrive at the stupa even when we're walking. That's one way, and we practice sitting and walking. So we go in the morning, we practice very slow walking like we did here, and we sit. And for more seasoned practitioner, I tell them their job is to be aware even they walk in the market, to not get too much stimulated by all the sensorial impressions, because the market would get distracted very quickly, or at the airport. And this is how we walk in the pilgrimage in our tradition. The walk is the pilgrimage, actually. When people understand this, they don't have to go anywhere. Sometimes we think we have to go somewhere, but with walking meditation, you can bring Bodh Gaya to you. And when you go, it's more to celebrate and to honor these masters. But it's not like a popular religion pilgrimage. When you see people walk on maybe Santiago, El Camino, you want to walk very fast to get there. Yeah? Or when you see people want to see the relics of the Buddha and Bodh Gaya, they pray, they make the offering, and they leave very fast. Yeah? But this is not our style when we walk. And when you walk in this way, people see this, especially experienced practitioner. We walked in the very old monastery in Hanoi. But no French people, European, go into this monastery because it's not touristic. And the abbot, he saw us walking, and he knew we were students of Thai. And he said, when I saw you walking, it made me stop because I was so busy in my head. And he said, I cried because he said that this is the Thai's teaching that you apply. And he said, it's very beautiful to see the living Buddha, the living Dharma. And he was very touched because he said, it's very beautiful to see people walk in the monastery in this way. And they're very present. So this is my suggestion if you go on a pilgrimage. Sometimes we go on 1 week walk in the desert. All we do is practice walking meditation. People are very excited to walk in the desert, but I said, it's the same everywhere you go. In the desert, it doesn't change. So you should practice to walk to arrive. When you walk with a group, it's much easier. You have the collective energy. But sometimes when you walk alone, and in nature is very nice, and when you have your private space, but slowly you want to walk in this way when you at work, in your company. The masters I will share with you tomorrow, they walk in this way through battlefields. Very powerful practice. They're not afraid to get shot. No fear. And this practice it helps you to arrive. There's a poem that helps us to contemplate the different levels of the practice. This is the poem by Tai. It said, let the Buddha breathe, let the Buddha walk. I don't have to breathe, I don't have to walk. The Buddha is the breathing, the Buddha is the walking. I appreciate the breathing, I enjoy the walking. Buddha is the breath, Buddha is the steps. I am the breathing, I am the walking. Only the breathing, only the walking. There is no one walking. There is no breather, there is no walker. Peace in each breath, happiness in each step. Peace is the breathing, happiness, joy is the walking. This poem looks very simple, huh? But it has deep levels of mindfulness. The first is we don't make an effort. With mindfulness, there's no effort. There's some intention, but if you make too much effort, it's not yet the mindfulness we want to cultivate. Because another factor of awakening is ease, relaxation. So I don't say DAT is walking, because I know that he has the Buddha in him. So I let the Buddha walk. And we say Buddha is the breathing, Buddha is the walking. So now you can enjoy each step. You can enjoy each breath. And only the breathing, only the walking. So now we go into non-dual awareness. Only the sound, only the breath. We say, we don't need a thinker. Sometimes we think the thinker has to be there, but when you have very deep mindfulness, you don't need the thinker. He doesn't need to be present. There's only the walking, only the breath. And the last level is, there is no walker, no one breathing. But that's very deep. You go into very deep insight that there is nobody breathing. What you call the I entity is not the breather. Many conditions for the breath to manifest. Many, many conditions. And we see there is no separate self in the breathing. So we have 3 levels. We have the training level. I go back to my mindfulness. When I'm not present, I go back to my step. We go to the effortless level. Let the Buddha breathe. Why make so much effort? So you trust in your own seed of mindfulness. We all have a seed of mindfulness. The Buddha is a human being. Tai is a human being. But they invest a lot in this energy. So I apply the same. And we apply the same. Into this energy become very strong. Like the sun shining very bright. But if our energy of mindfulness is weak, we remember, we forget, we remember, we forget, we remember, we forget. We practice, we don't practice, and we don't go anywhere. This is why we call this the continuous practice. If you want to cook a good Spanish meal, for example, you have to keep the fire burning. But you turn the fire off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, it doesn't cook. So the ancestor, we call this the continuous practice because we want to cook the grain, the seed of mindfulness until it becomes very ripe. And this is why all these practices are very important. We don't neglect any practice. Eventually sleeping is a practice because we spend 40 years of our life sleeping. But who's aware of this? So we spend 40 years of our life in oblivion. And that's very shocking. But once you realize, I want to be awake, even when I sleep, when I eat, when I speak, then we understand the continuous practice. So this poem, you can copy and paste and put it somewhere where you can see. Peace is the breathing, happiness is the walking. We call this how to be time. Uji in Japanese. Time is not for doing, time is for being. And my happiness is not because I have something that I'm happy. It's because I understand what mindful breathing is, mindful walking. This is very strange, maybe to you, but to me, I experienced this in my life. When I see my teacher walk, he's like the happiest person in the world. When you see Tai walk, and you see his step, each step is a miracle. And he teach me how to walk this way. When I take the first steps of my day, I say walking on earth is a miracle. And we train the beginner's mind this way. And slowly, slowly, we live in the beginner's mind. And we die in the beginner's mind. And everything is okay. This is the teaching tomorrow. On no birth, no death, no coming, no going. It's very powerful. Because now you become a free person in the world. And now you can be what we call a bodhisattva. You can offer your compassion, offer your intelligence, offer your skills for all beings. This is why we call this the path of the heart. Our mindfulness is not just now a technique or a protocol or an object, but it becomes a path. And I think this is what we're looking for. Yes. So, any more final questions and comments before we close? We close with a chant. So we have different things we can remember. The activity we chose to be mindful. This is one. Second is now the different practice that we chose to invest in. We try to apply a little bit. This way we can have something concrete to work with. And we can close with a chant to finish. We'll do maybe a metta chant, loving kindness. So the chant is, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love. You can chant this to yourself. You can chant this to the people you love. You can chant this to maybe people who may need this energy. And you can chant this to Mother Earth. So we're finished with the chant, 3 sounds of the bell. And I think if Javier wished to share something to close, we can do like this. Okay. May you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with love. Muchas gracias. Terminados. Javier, ¿quieres decir? ¿Sí? ¿No? Ok.
Muchas gracias.
Hasta mañana, ¿sí? Nos
Hasta
vemos.
mañana, gracias.
Gracias. Gracias, Renchen.
Gracias.
por-
Gracias, Rinchen. Gracias, Dad. Mañana.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Hasta mañana.
Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Hasta
Hasta
mañana.
mañana.
Hasta mañana.
Hasta mañana.
Gracias. Gracias.